2,000 plus demos, so little time. That's the Steam Next Festival experience, but if you want recommendations for indie games to try, here are Metroidvanias, auto battlers, action games, live sims, RPGs and more, so let's begin with Dark Deity 2, the sequel to a pretty decent Fire Emblem style turn-based tactical RPG, being a direct sequel and is set 25 years after the events of the original, although no prior knowledge is needed, and you can play it as is. You play as the descendants of the protagonist of the first game, having to fight off a neighbouring kingdom as they begin to encroach upon your land with the classic rock paper scissors style combat system and some of the best pixel art that I have seen. Scaravan 66 is quite the curiosity as well, since this is a roguelite car combat title where you play as a road reaper, forever bound to the highway on which you died and have to harvest mortal souls for all eternity. The devil sends her demons and undead to torment you, so you have to blast away at them in hopes of escaping your own personal hell. I'm not an arena car combat person, never really growing up with it, so I don't quite get the appeal, but this is framed basically as a racing game with attacks, so I'm in. This video is brought to you by Knightica, a turn-based roguelike auto-battler where you lead an army of powerful units to free the kingdoms. Assemble your army by recruiting units of all shapes and sizes, placing and rotating them to use their specific talents to the fullest, having to ensure not only the right composition and mix of units, but also their position relative to all your other troops. By experimenting with different combinations, you can unlock potent interactions that enhance your army's effectiveness, critical since the monsters and adversaries that you encounter will get stronger the further along you go. Various strategies are viable, from upgrading your troops, amassing a massive army of weaker units to swarm your enemies, or even to strategically use allies to fight your battles, with the art style looking absolutely fantastic and is my jam, so definitely play the demo and wishlist the game on Steam if interested. If you love mecha action, Break Arts 3 will be of note. Weirdly enough, racing game of all things, having 3 main modes, race, battle and battle racing, where I suppose it's self-explanatory, but the last one combines the first two. Not only are you scored based on your position in the race, but it also counts the number of opponents defeated, looking like a cool, weird mix of ideas. Mech customization is key, giving you unparalleled freedom in designing your own robots, changing out parts to suit various competitive scenarios. There is, of course, a fashion element to the game with a built-in diorama mode where you can pose your creations against various backgrounds and to take sick-looking screenshots for use presumably as wallpapers on your desktop or the like. There's also score attack and a co-op mode for more variety, with Break Arts 2 being on Steam, so you can get that as well. Tower Defense fans, be sure to check out 17 Waves TD, since this is an online co-op focused title designed for up to 4 players, emphasizing teamwork and strategic planning. Set on an embattled planet, you need to defend the 17 colonies from waves of relentless alien attacks, work together to collect coins, gather resources and upgrade your defenses, with there being a player avatar in the game as compared to the omnipotent godlike perspective of classic games in this genre. There are a wide variety of tower types, each with unique attributes, where you need to adapt your strategy to match the different kinds of enemies. Each player can choose from one of 7 unique upgrades like Overclock or Fleet Foot, making them better at certain activities where you then need to leverage your teammates if you want to be successful, having a great look as well. This next title has a very interesting pedigree since Total Chaos comes to us from the developer of Turbo Overkill, an all-action boomer shooter, and while this is still a first-person title that gives you access to guns and melee weapons, it is a survival horror game instead. You find yourself stranded on the desolate island of Fort Oasis, a once thriving mining community now shrouded in mystery and decay. Your primary objective is to get to the heart of the island, egged on by a cryptic radio transmission that draws you forward like a moth to flame, finding your way through while dealing with nightmarish creatures and environmental hazards. Combat is visceral and strategic, and while firearms exist, ammunition is scarce, compelling you to rely on melee weapons like tire irons, pickaxes, and improvised tools. Crafting and upgrading these weapons are essential, as each encounter demands careful resource management and tactical planning. The atmosphere is thick with tension, enhanced by the game's detailed environments and haunting sound design, and really is quite the amazing shift from their previous title, and they are flexing their developer chops. In survival horror game fashion, exploration rewards you with scattered letters and clues, gradually unveiling the story and the dark history of Fort Oasis and its missing inhabitants, where if you hate clean pens, be sure to give this demo a go. One more title that looks like a horror game is Cold Abyss Director's Cut, where your task is to descend to the depths of the ocean floor in an old-school diving suit in order to undertake the solitary mission of repairing broken network cables. This is an expanded version of a game on itch.io, introducing new levels, an enriched storyline, and a completely overhauled movement system. The developer says that this is a relaxing and atmospheric exploration game where you are all alone at the bottom of the ocean with no enemies or immediate dangers, and is supposed to be a meditative experience, but I'll leave it to you to see whether or not you believe this developer, with the throwback art style certainly enhancing the creepy vibes. This next title comes to us from a Singaporean developer, so of course I have to help them out, in which SEDAP, a culinary adventure, is a co-op cooking combat adventure game for 2 players, set in a vibrant world inspired by Southeast Asia. Our heroes are 2 aspiring culinary artists, traveling the world and operating a traveling food truck, venturing into the untamed landscapes of Kaya Island to discover exotic ingredients and to craft delectable dishes. You explore diverse biomes, each teeming with fantastical creatures and hidden hazards, gathering fresh ingredients directly from the environment, such as gathering fruit, foraging for plants, and of course, engaging in combat to get meat from wild animals in order to prepare authentic regional cuisine, such as pineapple fried rice, chicken rice, and banh mi. Food is central to the melting pot that is Singapore, so it is indeed a very Singaporean game, with the art of the food looking awesome as well. There is a bit of overcooked in this, since you have to prepare these and serve them to your customers on time, with the 2-player focus being interesting, since I have seen footage of one player fighting monsters and the other preparing food back at base, and sure looks like fun with a friend. The developer of Heroes of the 7 Islands reached out a while ago, and my immediate thought was, what an art style, not necessarily the most beautiful, but it is very different from the majority of games out there for better or worse. This is a party-based RPG that combines turn-based combat with open-world exploration, having an old-school feel to it, think Scout against the Black Prairie from last year, but with a different combat system. The land is threatened by Furax the Indestructible, a malevolent entity spreading despair across the 7 islands of the Emerald Archipelago, where your heroes are on a quest to stop the villain, having to gather 7 keys held by the rulers of each island to locate the Oracle, the only being capable of vanquishing Furax. So if you love the classics but with a different visual flair, do give this a go. The hand-drawn Metroidvania Scarlet City of Devils is also of note, where you're exploring a demon-infested city, engaging in intense Souls-like inspired hack-and-slash combat. There is a power struggle in the city due to the warring demon clans, with the powerful Knights of Virtue faction seizing control of the central fountain and fortifying it against the others, where amid this turmoil, a heroine fights through with the intent to heal the fractured heart of the city, but your mission is to stop her instead. It will have 6 unique weapons that not only enhance your battle prowesses, but also grants access to new areas within the interconnected map, Metroidvania style, and will be for fans of the genre, with the good news being that this releases very soon as well. I was pretty surprised when I came across Neongarten for the Steam Nix Festival, since I was previously aware of this minimalist, almost cozy, cyberpunk themed city builder, but it underwent a dramatic change in art style and definitely looks cozier as compared to their initial showing. You're constructing a thriving metropolis from the ground up, drawing inspiration from games like Islanders and Luck Be a Landlord, blending strategy and aesthetic design into quite the package. You have to place structures and maximize synergies based on proximity, managing resources and navigating the complexities of urban development in a dystopian setting. Each decision shapes the future of your city, requiring careful consideration and forward thinking, but it doesn't seem to be all that serious in that Islanders kind of way and looks chill. Back to action titles with Twilight Monk, a hand-drawn Metroidvania which looks awesome, where you step into the shoes of Raziel Tenzar, a Twilight Monk descendant, on a quest to recover the 3 rings of the Triskelion. Set in the world of Sparia, this side-scrolling title blends Metroidvania combat and RPG elements, interestingly having a JRPG-style overhead world map in exploration, which then zooms into side-scrolling combat in dungeons or when facing enemies. The intricately designed dungeons hides secrets, puzzles, and formidable foes with a sense of life to the world itself, with its multiple locations filled with all sorts of different NPCs, so if you love the genre, give the demo a try. Deadlock Station is a tactical roguelike auto-battler with indirect control, where you command a squad of customizable heroes to fend off alien invaders. Before each battle, you strategically position your units, considering environmental hazards like landmines and traps before you do so, using these to your advantage to destroy your opponent. Once the battle begins, however, you will be unable to directly control the units, simply having to sit back and watch, but between rounds is when you can enhance your team with implants and gear, such as energy shields and time-manipulating weapons to gain the advantage. There's also a home base to upgrade and develop, unlocking new items and allowing you to interact with different factions, each offering unique benefits and challenges with a great pixel art style as well. A sweet looking voxel title is Kingdom's Deck, combining city building with deck building mechanics, placing you in the role of a ruler striving to expand and defend your kingdom. Utilize a deck of cards to construct essential structures, manage resources, and train military units, having to balance between developing your economy and strengthening your defenses so that you don't get destroyed by waves of enemies. Cards can boost food production, fortify defenses, or summon powerful spells to turn the tide of battle, with an awesome voxel art style as well, although I am curious about the structure since the developer doesn't mention that it is a roguelite, so I wonder how replayable this will be. This next title made quite the splash when it was announced, since they got the voice actor of Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2 to lend his voice to the game, where in Cattle Country, you step into the boots of a pioneer forging a new life in the untamed West. Settle in the rugged mountains, establish your homestead and cultivate your farm, with the expected farm sim stuff of mining, fishing, crafting, and so on, but you're also able to confront bandits threatening your community, build relationships with fellow settlers, which can lead to deep friendships or even romance, having 18 characters open to such connections, so it hits all of the beats of one of these, but with that Wild West frontier setting, and has new aspects which make it their own, also having a great pixel art look. From the developer of Redeemer comes KIBORG, a roguelite brawler, where you are a prisoner on a distant planet, condemned to a 1,300-year sentence, and in this future, if a criminal dies during their sentence, they are reconstructed to allow them to continue to serve their punishment. The only path to freedom lies in The Last Ticket, a brutal contest where you must battle through hordes of inmates to reach a shuttle on the prison's rooftop. Combat is intense and unforgiving, drawing inspiration from classic brawlers, with a variety of melee, ranged, and even cybernetic enhancements at your disposal. You can dismember enemies, crush skulls, and extract cybernetic cores, replacing more and more of your own body parts with implants, experimenting with hundreds of augmentations and mutations to create deadly synergies in every run, where this developer specializes in games like this, so I expect this to be great. A neat looking pixel art JRPG with a rhythm and musical element to it is Fretless: The Wrath of Rifson, where you play as a passionate musician on a quest to restore harmony in a world where music has been corrupted. the nefarious Rick Rifson, head of Super Metal Records, is using the Battle of the Bands contest to ensnare talented artists with soul-binding contracts, aiming to control every melody and rhythm, so you have to fight back with the active turn-based combat system here, incorporating the rhythm game since you need to press buttons in line with the visual cues, being very long in development, so let's hope 2025 will finally be the year. When I last talked about this, it was still being teased as the next big project from developer Fabras, best known for Slime Sun and Demon Turf, being billed as their most ambitious title to date, where Demon Tides turned out to be the sequel to their previous 3D platformer. In this adventure, you follow Beebs and her crew as they traverse the expansive oceans of Ragnar's Rock, uncovering hidden secrets and embarking on a journey of self-discovery. It has a deeply expressive platforming moveset, allowing you to navigate the world in countless unique ways, making a way across the seamless open ocean at blazing speeds, exploring each locale and figuring out creative ways to beat challenges or to reach certain areas. You have a mobile home base named the Floating Fashionista, where you can relax with your crew or purchase new items of interest, and has over 50 unique talismans that modify or add to your moveset, such as a paraglider to soar the skies, a bubble to float in place indefinitely, and more, giving you even more options in platforming along with cosmetic customization of your character with many different combinations. There is an online aspect to the game since there are time trial platforming challenges and you can see other players' ghosts trying to beat them to get the best time, where it sure looks like a labor of love from developers who really love this genre. Perhaps the most visually distinctive title on this list is Labyrinth of the Demon King, a first-person dungeon crawler set in a mythical feudal Japan overrun by demons. As a foot soldier, you embark on a quest to hunt down and slay the Demon King who killed your lord, navigate dark, twisted corridors, solve intricate puzzles, and engage in challenging combat against various yokai and other abominations. Arm yourself with weapons ranging from katanas to naginatas to muskets and bows, and collect armor and talismans to aid in your survival, with it definitely reminding me of King's Field due to the recent Fly Knight, which I quite enjoyed. Although I don't know if there is a stamina meter here. It has a retro grim art style reminiscent of PS1 era graphics, along with the intentional 4:3 aspect ratio, which gives it a cool throwback vibe. There are also strange NPCs to interact with who might be friend or foe, and deciding on which character to trust could affect your ultimate fate, looking wholly unique and is of note. I want to give a special mention to Geno Kids as well, a fast-paced hack-and-slash game where a band of musicians battles an alien invasion. This has been in development for a while, but the developer is actively sharing clips of their game, culminating, of course, in a demo for this festival, where developers are encouraged to choose the next festival closest to their release, so maybe we will get a date soon. You play as 4 characters at the same time, each with unique movesets, navigating the ruins of the city of Las Divas using parkour. The cel-shaded comic book-like art style looks great, enhancing the stylish combat against waves of enemies, and follow along as they strive to save the world. You can even enter hyper mode in battle to unleash powerful attacks and enhance your abilities, definitely having a similar kind of vibe to Hi-Fi Rush and could be cool. I love fishing in games, so I'm always on the lookout for the next title that will hook me, where Nice Day for Fishing looks like it fits the bill. In the fantasy world of Azurim, the heroes have mysteriously vanished, which means that an evil force is threatening to take over the land unopposed, so it is up to Balin, the humble fisherman NPC in town, to pick up his rod and get to work, transforming into an adventurer with newfound responsibilities. This looks similar to something like Terraria, being, for the most part, a side-scrolling title in which you are free to explore the land, sailing around on your ship, to get to the best fishing spots, but then there are also epic fishing battles against monstrous enemies. You have quests to complete, RPG elements to increase your strength and to unlock new spells, a fishing system where you can change the lure and bait, as well as a village building system where you rebuild the town of Honeywood, which of course unlocks more equipment and upgrades from merchants there. Being a fishing game, of course there is a collection aspect with plenty of different types of fish to catch, so if you love fishing like me, give this a try. Void War is essentially FTL cross Warhammer 40k, so I'm not sure how the developers are getting away with this, being a space combat roguelite set in a dark, techno-gothic future. You command an ancient starship, navigating through a galaxy filled with demented cultists, space pirates, and xenophobic Imperial soldiers. As you manage limited resources and jump from node to node on the galactic map, combat zooms into that familiar FTL looking interface where you can control individual crew members and direct them to man specific stations, activating shields or firing your weapons at enemies, but beware of enemies boarding your ship. There are powerful artifacts to discover and various upgrades for your ship, and has demons, psychic powers and such rather than the more sci-fi alien stuff of FTL, looking minimalist but impressive for what it is and has the potential to be huge. Real World comes to us from an unlikely source in developer Messhoff, best known for the 1v1 multiplayer title Nidhogg and its sequel, but this is an open world cycling adventure game where you play as Cat, a young cyclist chosen by ancient cycling spirits to save Real World from total collapse. It has a vast open world filled with breathtaking views and hidden secrets where you're able to customize your bike with an endless array of parts to create the perfect ride for you. Interestingly, in addition to open world exploration and almost adventure game style elements, you will encounter elite cycling teams and quirky rivals participating in high-stakes races, turning into a racing game of all things, with rare parts to locate for powerful upgrades as well as legendary parts for your main quest, having stunning visuals and looks awesome. I last talked about this title in my video on upcoming strategy roguelite, in which He Is Coming is a roguelike RPG auto-battler that combines classic turn-based, grid-based movement and exploration with a more streamlined combat system. You have to collect and combine powerful items to defeat the Demon King and his minions, where every 3 in-game days, a new minion arrives, increasing the stakes and difficulty, so you need to then gather more weapons, stack more item effects, and plan ahead to survive. Combat automatically resolves, so the items you equip are crucial, having to find those synergies between items and effects, where you unlock new artifacts to be added to the pool of possible items after every run, rather than having the now more common meta progression carryover upgrade system. So it's a throwback in that sense and has a great minimalist look. A pretty cool looking title is Metro Gravity, a third-person action-adventure game that immerses you in a dream-like world known as the Halls. In this surreal environment, you navigate twisting passages and alleys, bending gravity to your will to overcome obstacles and to solve puzzles. The game features rhythmic combat, where timing your actions to the beat of the music is crucial for success, and as you progress, you can unlock new abilities, interact with a cast of characters, and uncover the compelling lore that drives the story. This is tagged as a Metroidvania, so there might be some sort of backtracking and usage of abilities to get to new areas, with the surreal, trippy world looking kind of crazy and might have puzzle elements as you figure out where to go. I love my pixel art, so I have to say this run and gun action platformer does look fantastic, where in Nitro Express, you play as a member of the atypical vehicle disposal squad tasked with protecting the city from rogue autonomous drones, having 360 degrees free aiming and a bunch of different firearms and gadgets, and looks like fun. Watch this video for more upcoming action platformers.